Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So this is the first video I'm doing where I hope to do like a Bible study deep dive every week. We'll see how it goes, but I started to really think about reading the Bible intentionally and like drawing out stories where we could easily dismiss it. So for example, the story today is from a group of people known as the Jabesh Gilead. I don't know how to pronounce it real well, but I will put the spelling at the top. And my topic today is, why does the Bible keep mentioning Jabesh Gilead? And we really start to come across this group of people in Judges chapter 21. This is the last chapter of Judges. So what had happened was that the tribe of Benjamin, they had committed an atrocity against a Levite from the Ephraim country. So the rest of the Israelites, the 11 other tribes, had then come against the tribe of Benjamin, and it had they slaughtered like a huge number of people because of the crime they committed. And in Judges 21 verse 6, it says, "Now the Israelites grieved for the tribe of Benjamin, their fellow Israelites. And they said, 'Today one tribe is cut off from Israel. How can we provide wives for those who are left, since we have taken an oath by the Lord not to give them any of our daughters in marriage?' Then they asked, 'Which of the tribes of Israel failed to assemble before the Lord at Mizpah?' They discovered that no one from Jabesh Gilead had come to the camp for the assembly. For when they counted the people, they found that none of the people of Jabesh Gilead were there." It's repeated twice, and we know that every time something is repeated twice, let's take note of that, yeah? And in verse 12 it says, "They found among the people living in Jabesh Gilead 400 young women who had never slept with a man, and they took them to the camp at Shiloh in Canaan." And then these ladies were then given in marriage to the men, some of the men from the tribe of Benjamin. Now, that's the end of Judges, and we know following Judges is the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel. Now, in 1 Samuel, we see that the people of Israel then asked for a king. They had never had a king before, but they asked Samuel for a king, and then God says, "It's not you they have rejected, but it's me." So then Samuel, through the power of God, he anoints Saul from the tribe of Benjamin. Now, knowing what we know of the war that had taken place in Judges, it then makes sense when we hear Saul say in 1 Samuel chapter 9 verse 21, "Saul answered and said, 'Am I not a Benjamite, one of the smallest of the tribes of Israel, and my people the least of all the families of the tribe of Benjamin?'" You know, like he knows that their tribe is small because a large number had been decimated years before, as we see in Judges. But then he becomes king, and despite his failures, there's one thing that we see clearly in 1 Samuel chapter 11, is that King Saul's willingness to defend his fellow Israelites. We see this in 1 Samuel chapter 11, when Nahash the Ammonite wages war against the people of Jabesh Gilead. These people where the 400 ladies were taken from. It is King Saul who comes to their rescue. And years later, this act of veiwekani is not lost on the people of Jabesh Gilead, as they return the favor to King Saul. And we see that in 1 Samuel chapter 31, when King Saul dies, and the text reads, "When the people of Jabesh Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, all their valiant men marched through the night to Bethshan. They took down the bodies of Saul and his sons from the wall of Bethshan and went to Jabesh, where they burned them." And for this act, King David then commends them, like he's giving his thanks to them in 2 Samuel chapter 2 verse 4 to 6. When David was told that it was the men from Jabesh Gilead who had buried Saul, he sent messengers to them to say to them, "The Lord bless you for showing this kindness to Saul, your master, by burying him. May the Lord show you kindness and faithfulness, and I too will show you the same favor because you have done this." So that, in a nutshell, is just a lovely story of how this lovely group of people, or how like the tribal connections that we know of, for example, in Fiji, Nambula veiwekani, we know full well how we are related to other tribes. And this concept is demonstrated in the Bible. So I hope that this has been enlightening, and with such little nuggets, you begin to appreciate the Bible as you read through, and begin to make connections when you are reading through the stories, especially in the Old Testament, of tribes, of groups of people, of covenants made. And I hope that your journey through the Bible is enriched when you begin to spot these nuggets. As I said, I will try and bring you these little insights every week. I'll try and clean up the background and all, but yeah, this is my first video. If you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you next week.